Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to the second episode of Conscious Souls. This is Patricia, and she's a healing coach.
And this is Victoria, and she's a soul activation coach.
And we are Conscious Souls. It's so good to connect with you again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending a little moment with us. Our mission and purpose is to bring more consciousness and awareness back into the world of who we are and why we are here. And today we're going to touch on a big theme that has been in one way or another in all of our lives. And this is why we decided we're dedicating today's episode to the theme of rejection. It's such a big thing in the world. So Patricia is going to be the one that I'm going to question today because you, Patricia, have spent a year of rejection. Do you want to tell us a little more about this?
Yes. Thank you so much, Victoria. I would love to discuss this topic with you guys. So, the beginning of 2023, I was having a talk with a friend. We're both romantically trying to get out there. We agreed to do this year of rejection together. The idea was that we would put ourselves in front of rejection, expecting to get rejected, and see what comes from that. So we would choose people that were interested on the street, on the supermarket, at the gym, wherever, and we would really tell ourselves, okay, we gotta do it, we gotta go. We expect to get rejected, so we take that fear away, and then we see what happens. So that's the idea behind the year of rejection.
Wow. So first of all, I really want to congratulate you for your courage, because I'm going to have some questions for you. Let's be honest with each other, and let's just be vulnerable in our podcast, because vulnerability is the new strength, And so where did you take the courage from to actually expose yourself to rejection? And of course, this question is implying that rejection is something that hurts. So where does this courage come from to actually expose yourself to situations of rejection?
Very interesting question, Victoria. For me, as I did my first experience, as I found my first target, so to say, with whom I was experimenting this, it wasn't so much that I had a lot of courage, not really. It wasn't so much about finding the courage. It was more about, okay, there's this path right here and now that I can take, that is to go flirt with this man and approach him and try to get his phone number. Or the path of unconfrontational, not confronting it. The path for numbing it down. The path of telling myself, okay, you can't do it, this is too stressful, this is too hard. So it's more about which narrative you choose. And for me, at that moment, the pain of choosing to not do it was bigger than the pain to do it. The pain of letting myself down and rejecting myself was bigger than whoever this man could reply with to my initiative towards him. Does it answer your question, Victoria?
Absolutely, and it makes a lot of sense. It is actually showing me that your response, Patricia, implies a high level of self-love already, that you actually know you love yourself so much and you're staying true to yourself. And because you feel attracted to this person or this situation or this opportunity in life or whatever, you're going to expose yourself to it, going forward, going for it, because you are staying true to yourself. You love yourself, you're staying true to yourself. And so there couldn't even be a disappointment, because even though you got a no from that person, you would still have been true to yourself. Did I understand it correctly?
Yes, exactly. What I've learned a lot in that year of rejection, which was actually not a year exactly, but I always mention it like that because it sounds more impactful. Outside rejection is an illusion. And when we think about rejection, it's us. We rejecting ourselves. That's the first step. Before anyone else can reject us, we are choosing rejection within. And this is what I've learned. We need to choose not to reject ourselves first. And if you choose not to reject yourself, then you can't be rejected. Because whatever you get from this experience, and whatever I got from this experience, even if it didn't work out with this person, I learned something. And I felt so much more powerful and confident. Even if they did, quote unquote, rejected me, I felt so much more powerful. I was like, I'm the boss.
Wow. Okay, so my next question would be, why is it such a primordial fear of every single one of us, or most of us human beings here on planet Earth? Why is it just such a primordial fear of being rejected? What would you say?
Wow. So I think, what is rejection? Rejection is someone denying a part of yourself. And some people might go and not show their true selves because they think that this other version is more lovable. So they are already rejecting themselves beforehand by doing this. So in that sense, they're putting out a version of themselves that is less likely to be rejected, that fits in the most, so it doesn't get rejected. Why? Because we are afraid that if we get rejected, we're not going to get that love, because we are looking for love externally instead of internally. And we are afraid that, let's take the position of someone that is looking for love externally. If you're looking for love externally and you get rejected externally, you're going to feel like you're not enough, you don't deserve love, and you're worthless, and you're never going to find someone. And this goes for job, for romantic relationships, for friendships. This goes for everything. If you put yourself out there, you go on an interview, you get rejected, you're going to feel you're never going to get a job. If it's romantic, you're never going to get a partner, you're never going to get that love, you're never going to get the family you wanted. If it's a friendship, you're going to be alone in the world, you're never going to find your tribe. And all of this means that you're afraid of death, because what is the worst that can happen from this rejection is that you're going to die alone. If you don't get a job, you're going to die because you don't have an income. If you don't get a partner, you're going to die because you're going to be so much depression and loneliness. So at the end of it all, I think the fear of death, I think that's what drives us all.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for evolving on that, Patricia. Very, very interesting. So what I understand also is that when we are really remembering who we truly are, and that we are loved by a source that is so much more loving than any human being could ever be, except a fully awakened human being. But I always believed until now, at least, I'm open to change, that we're here to learn. So if we realize that there is a source that loves us more than anything, and that would never reject us, because for that source, we are known by name. We are known with all our desires, with all our wishes, with all our fears, all our needs, and we are loved so much and so fiercely and unconditionally, and that is the reason that we are here, that we are even alive. Then in that sense, in that light, your answer makes a lot of sense, that we are just afraid of death. But then death, let's just take the fear of death to the next level. Isn't death just something different for going back home into our natural state of energy? And if we look at it from that lens, then it's just an illusion. The fear of rejection basically is an illusion.
Yeah, totally. Fear of rejection is an illusion. And, a lot of people nowadays, they put on this mask to fit in, because they know that if they put on this mask to fit in, they're not going to get rejected. So they're not going to die. I mean, we're all going to, but they will avoid that fear. They don't have to look that fear in the eyes, the fear of death. And you might not be doing this consciously, but then unconsciously, this fear is like controlling your whole life. This fear is like the master behind your life. And we are not here to be fearful of anything.
Oh, I think I get it. So basically, when we put this mask on, that mask of fitting in, we are already rejecting ourselves, aren't we?
Yes, we are. We are rejecting ourselves in order to try and get acceptance from someone else, but then that acceptance is not going to be truth. We're not going to be, this is going to be a rat race. Because you're never going to get the true valid acceptance. You're only going to get that once you're really yourself and you don't reject yourself. And then, first, that's the only validation that you need, first and foremost. But then you're going to attract, and other people are going to validate you on that. And that validation is going to feel the most truest of them all. Because you're being yourself.
Yeah. God, I love your answers, Patricia. And what I also get from your answers is that because we're putting on a mask to fit in, when we then get rejected, it's only that mask of us that gets rejected because it's an illusion. It's not the real us. So when you say, okay, that when we put on a mask to fit in, also, let's say that you are trying to be someone that you're not. You're trying to be more confident or more flirty or more sexy, where in reality you're actually shy. But then you go towards someone because you feel attracted to this person for whatever reason, and you're putting on a mask of being who you are not. Then when you get rejected from that person, it's not you who gets rejected. It's that mask that we put on that gets rejected. And that actually brings us back to who we truly are, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If you have an action with your mask on, and you get rejected, then it's your mask that got rejected, is not you.
Exactly. But we take it so personal because we take it against us because this is part of us. The mask is part of us. The mask is part of something that we are, or we believe we are, where in reality it's just an illusion. Wow. Okay. This is getting really juicy.
I want to add, let me just add a little point to that. Masks can be something that we put on ourselves. I mean, we always put it on ourselves. But we pick on things from our early childhood experience of what our parents would like us to be, of what our family would like us to be, of what our school teachers would like us to be, of what the cool kid at school would like us to be. And we put all that information and we bring it on instead of being like, okay, what do I like to be? And then let the outside world adapt. Instead, what you're doing is taking the outside world and adapting to it. That's not what we want to do. We want to do the opposite. So sometimes our masks are not things that we put there. I mean, they're definitely not things that we put there consciously. And this is where a lot of the inner work relies on, is unraveling like those layers of masks, of personalities and qualities and traits that we put in there that are not ours truly. It's a matter of letting go of all those things so that we can actually be who we're meant to be and let the world adapt to us.
Exactly. So the mask in the end is nothing less than our ego. It's a conditioned self, the conditioned by the outside world self that we kind of developed based on outside feedback. But then in the end, it's not the real who we are, because we might be someone completely different. As I said, we might be shy, but we are playing the social one, or we might be, whatever. So in the end, it's just, wow, it makes so much sense. Yeah, it's the conditioned self. And because this conditioned self gets rejected, it's bringing us back to who we truly are, in a way.
But some people don't see that way. They even try harder. I feel like they might refuse, because for them, that mask is who they are.
Yeah.
They take it personally because that mask is exactly who they are.
Yeah.
So,
God, Patricia, I'm sorry that I'm interrupting here, but I'm getting so excited because it feels like you can read my mind. My next question would be, how is the fear of rejection influencing us from fully living? How is the fear of rejecting inhibiting us from fully being alive? Being us and being alive? What would you say?
Okay, before I go into that question, I want to just elaborate something more on the previous question, because you were pointing out that, we were taking on this character of someone that was really flirty and sexy and so on, but actually in their core they're actually really shy. And I had a very similar experience to that. I was actually the opposite. I was very, very shy, very I was this girl that you couldn't even, I mean, I wanted to hide myself. I wanted to camouflage myself into the room I was on so no one would notice me and no one would come and talk to me because I was so anxious and so shy. I mean, so timid. I mean, I don't think this was even considered introversion. It was a whole nother layer of introversion. It was, I wouldn't talk, I wouldn't put myself out there. And I really thought this was who I was for, the longest time. And my outside experience really enhanced that because people would say, oh, she's just like that. She's always been like this. My parents would tell me, she just doesn't talk. She's always been like this. She's just born like this. No, you're not born like this. You are very intuitive as a child, as a baby, as a toddler, or you're very intuitive and you learn what works for your parents and what wasn't, and you adapt to that. And so for them, it might seem like you were always like this, but no, you were just born with the intent to adapt to them already. Because you need to survive, and because you need to survive, you need to make them happy. But that's towards another point. So I was very, very shy and timid, and everyone around me kept affirming that same reality towards me. So I was like, yeah, that's who I am. And I went to therapy for that, and it didn't really help. So after a long time of self-development, I actually took all of those layers out, and I'm actually so much more the opposite of that. Like, I have my introvert moments, but I'm so extroverted and I'm not shy at all. I'm really not shy. And I have empathy and compassion for this other version of myself. But I'm so much more connected to myself now because I feel like I'm the truth. This is the truth. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that point. And if you have something to say before we move on to the next question about this.
Thank you, my darling. No, it's perfect what you said. Let's move on to the next question. So how is that fear of rejection inhibiting us from fully living, from fully feeling alive, from fully being who we truly are?
So first, I would say it's holding you back from getting what you want.
That's a big one.
If what failure looks like is that you haven't even tried. And this is what someone that is afraid of rejection will do. They won't even try. What failure is not is if you try and you get rejected. Because you're learning from it and you're improving your technical skills. Because again, if you go for an interview and you get rejected, it's only a part of you that somewhat got rejected. Your whole being is not the person that went to that interview, is it? No. So it's only a part of you that for some reason is not a match to that job. So again, it's to learn how to take that rejection. And I'm gonna change the word rejection to criticism. It's about taking that criticism and seeing, okay, how can I improve? And do I even want to improve? Because perhaps you got rejected by a person that you don't even want to work with. In that case, it makes no sense to change anything whatsoever about yourself. Or not about yourself, but about the techniques you used in this specific situation. You should never change anything about yourself. If it's something that you really truly wanted and you felt like this would have worked, then I would invite you to take this criticism and see, is this something that I can use to improve on? And this is very important because you should only take criticism from people that you would exchange lives with.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by exchanging life with this person?
Yes, so for example, if I'm going to give two examples, a job interview and a romantic or a friendship prospect. If you go to a job interview and you, at the end of the interview, you think for yourself, okay, would I exchange lives? If I had the opportunity, would I become this person? And if the answer is no, then any criticism this person has for you, you don't need to listen. If it's someone that you would exchange life with, then I would totally invite you to listen to their criticism. The same thing with friendships and in romantic partners. If it's someone that you admire so much that you would totally exchange lives with because you love what they're doing. Like, for example, I would exchange my life with yours, Victoria. And therefore, I'm very open to your criticism about my life and my experiences. Because I value your experience and I value you as a person, and I see that we are in the same value length. And therefore, I open your criticism because I wanna only take criticism from people that are where I am or where I want to be.
Where you want to be, yeah. You go to the point. And what I wanted to add here, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you answered my question. What do you mean by exchanging lives? You're getting to the point, and basically what I understood from my question, how is the fear of rejection influencing us from fully feeling alive, is you're not even trying. You're not even going for the things that you want in your life, which means that you will live a miserable life in, hidden in a way, in quiet, away from the world, not really showing the world who you truly are. And I know how that feels, because this is how I lived my life most of the time. So you're basically betraying yourself of really being alive and taking inspired action towards your goals and your dreams, right?
You're rejecting yourself.
Yeah. I have one more question, and thank you for what you said, Patricia. I want to add that here for our listeners. This is a very important point. I believe that real, genuine friendships like ours, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life, Patricia. I believe that, I love you. I believe that friendships like ours, when you say that you would be open to my criticism, I wouldn't even call it criticism. I mean, I'm open to yours as much as you're to mine, with the difference that I know you're not going to criticize me. You are going to give me constructive feedback that I'm able to take because I know it's coming from a place of genuine love. And I think this is what makes a difference.
And also from someone that understands you. Because you can also try to give feedback to someone that you don't understand, and that's just going to create a lot of resistance in the other person. Right. Because they're not going to feel understood.
Right.
And that's the whole point of friendships, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's a theme for another podcast. Like, what are your standards for a friendship? And maybe you want to raise them like we have, right? Okay, my dear, I have one more question. How does a person who is fully healed from the fear of rejection look like? How does this person feel?
I wouldn't say I'm fully healed from the fear or rejection, but I can tell you what I think. So I actually saw a video the other day. It was this man on Instagram. He was just, and this is something that I do myself, I dance on the streets. Or sometimes I'm listening to music, or sometimes I'm just singing. And I dance on the streets, and I was dancing yesterday. I was so happy. I got out of the metro, started to dance, and I didn't care who was looking. Most of the time, people don't say anything or don't even look at you. And when they do look at you, they're actually happy to see you. I had this experience a year ago that I was dancing on the street in Lisbon. A lot of people, I didn't care. And then this guy was coming in the opposite direction, and he started to dance too. And I'm like, yes! And then we danced a little bit together. I was the only one listening to the music, he wasn't. And he's like, what are you listening to? And he got my AirPod and he just connected, and we exchanged contacts. By being your true, fully self, not afraid of rejection, that's how you're going to attract the people that are meant to be in your life. Back to your point. I would say a person that is fully not afraid of rejection, it would be someone that completely listens to their intuition. Whatever they feel like doing. If I feel like dancing on the street, I'm dancing on the street. If I feel like saying this to my friend right here, right now, although it sounds uncomfortable, I'm gonna do it. Because why don't you do it? Why don't you tell your friend something that is bothering you? It's because you're afraid they're going to reject you. That's it. So it's to listen to your intuition, not even second guess it, not try to make it logic. Just go, do it, whatever comes first.
Wow, Patricia, thank you so much. That was an amazing interview. And for our listeners, for all these beautiful souls, let me just summarize that fear of rejection is nothing than an illusion. Would you agree with that, Patricia?
Yes. I would add, fear of external rejection is an illusion.
Yeah. Here we go.
The rejection within is very much real.
Yeah. And the rejection within, where does that come from?
The rejection within. Well, the rejection within still comes from the external rejection in a way. So if I accept this version of myself, the external people are going to reject me. Or you can straight up not even consciously think about it and experience, wait, where am I going with this?
It was about, the fear of rejection. So basically, when we are rejecting ourselves,
that's the ego.
We are rejecting the part of us that we were when we were little, and that might have been a part that was not appreciated by our parents. Maybe we were too loud or too intense. For me, it was I'm too intense, I'm too sensitive, I'm too, I don't know, my perception, my senses are too developed. I hear more than other people, I smell more than other people. You're too much. So we might just reject that part of us because it doesn't fit in to what the norm of the society is, based on somebody else's opinion. But so as what I understand, that as long as we're no longer rejecting who we truly are, and we are remembering who we were as children before we got conditioned by the outside world, then the fear of rejection is just kind of like pulverizing away like fairy dust, because it's just a big illusion. It's not who we are.
Exactly. And I want to add to that, Victoria, fuck normal.
Yeah.
Fuck the normal. Don't want the same person copied, copy, paste. No, that's boring. We want different people. We want expression. So we can find the ones that we truly want to be with. So I encourage all of our listeners right here, right now, to be yourself, to love yourself. Because if you feel in your life like you're not connected, that you don't have meaningful relationships and friendships, it's because you're not connected within. So find who you are so that you can find your tribe out there. It all starts with you.
Amen. A woman. Hallelujah. Okay, so thanks for listening to this podcast. We truly hope it brought you some more insight about this big, huge theme of rejection. As our dear soul, Jamie Kern Lima once said, rejection is nothing than God's protection and redirection. And so I think it is redirecting us to who we truly are, to that beautiful child, like that baby that was born and was like, look at me, here I am, love me the way I am. We gotta get back to this fierceness of who we truly are, and then live from that place. And when we do that, we no longer reject ourselves, and then being rejected by others will no longer hurt us because we are true with who we truly are.
Yeah, you know who you
are. And
are.
with this, thank you so much for all your insights, Patricia. It was an amazing interview. For our listeners, thank you for being here. We see you on the next podcast.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.